to give a brief presentation. We will really keep it brief because it's getting late for many of us here in Europe. And but we thought it was important at this point, by way of illustrating the practicalities, the practical consequences of this, to speak to you briefly about the new binding ACP-EU partnership agreement. To put it very bluntly, it is one of those typical, well-meant, but in certain aspects misplaced efforts by the European Union to impose our Western views on African and Caribbean and other developing countries. And it carries some real dangers in it. So knowing once again that it's getting late for many of you, I know that Henk Jan has prepared this in a very bullet point way. Henk Jan, shall I bring up the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, please.
Very good.
Yes.
So I will do that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian, also for this invitation to this important webinar. I also am very happy to see you back, Päivi. I've been in the court case with you. We are in the preparations of a program for you here, and you are in good hands with Paul Coleman of Alliance Defending Freedom, but you are in the best hands of the Lord. We pray on this family table every day. Your name is mentioned, so be assured of our continuous prayers for you and for Nilo. So we come to this new topic, the 20-year binding ACP-EU partnership agreement. I talk on this as a former staffer in the European Parliament Foreign Affairs Committee for 7 years. ACP means the African, Caribbean and Pacific countries. EU means the European Union. It is highly promising regarding trade and aid, but it includes deceptive provisions bringing in LGBT, abortion, comprehensive sexuality education and other violations to national sovereignty, which needs to be revised. Very shortly, I want to say something about what the agreement is, and I think this presentation in bullet points will be shared with you, so you don't have to take all kinds of notes. What it is and what the concerning points are, and what has been done already to raise awareness about these concerning provisions, and what you could probably do before this agreement has been ratified, because the current status is that it has been negotiated, it has not yet been signed by the countries, and it has not yet been ratified by the ACP countries and the EU countries. So what is it? It is a revised extension of the 20-year Cotonou Partnership Agreement that was signed in 2000, focused on aid and trade relations between the EU and 48 sub-Saharan African countries, and 16 Caribbean countries, and 15 Pacific countries. It is a binding treaty and includes over 100 countries, which altogether represent more than half of UN member states and more than 1.5 billion people. The Cotonou Agreement in 2000 only focused on aid and trade, but this new negotiated agreement that is not only focusing on aid and trade, but it includes human rights, democracy, governance in people-centered and rights-based societies. And the agreement has a common foundation complemented by 3 separate regional protocols for each of the 3 regions. And you should probably know, I got to know that the ACP Secretariat, which is in Brussels, they negotiated this agreement with the EU, but that Secretariat is funded by the EU. So note that. So the concerning provisions are the SRHR. The new agreement includes issues of sole national competence such as health and education, intending to forcefully align social and cultural values of the ACP countries to the values of the EU and thereby undermining the national sovereignty of the countries. So the agreement implies that states should ensure full access to abortion, it's Article 32, Paragraph 2, and embrace so-called sexual rights, which includes LGBT rights, and also, which the Honorable Lucy of Uganda also said, to adopt comprehensive sexuality education, which undermines parental rights. This agreement implies that all states should implement all of the controversial review conference outcome documents of the ICPD, like it was also told at the ICPD of the Nairobi summit, where I was also present. The agreement implies the need for all states to agree on the EU position on sexual and reproductive health and rights in international fora. Secondly, it also concerns the provisions on regional integration. I will leave this part out because of time reasons. You can read on it in the bullet point presentation. But the economic regions of the African Union, for example, the SADC in the southern part, has raised formal questions to the EU on what it means about the African efforts or to have the regional economic integration by themselves, if it is jeopardized by this agreement. Now, finally, what has already been done to raise awareness about these concerning provisions? At a EU level, we found 6 pro-life members of the European Parliament who have asked written questions on it to the European Commission. On the member states of the EU level side, we have Hungary and Poland who refused to sign the agreement in the current form for reasons of SRHR and migration. And at the EU level, as I just said, the SADC has issued joint communique to the European Commission with questions, and worldwide NGOs, religious leaders, and individual officials of the EU and ACP countries and beyond have come up to raise awareness about the many undefined SRHR terms in the post-Cotonou agreement text, which are also issues of national competence. So what could you, and especially maybe the Africans, but also people from Europe, can do before signing and ratifying this agreement at national level? That is, request the European Commission to provide written assurances that no provisions in this binding agreement will be interpreted as to promote abortion, CSE, comprehensive sexuality education, LGBT rights, which have not achieved consensus at the UN. Secondly, clarify with the European Commission whether and to what extent the agreement trumps national and regional laws of the ACP countries, like bilateral agreements or EU regional policy agreements. 3. Clarify with the European Commission whether or not this agreement will make developmental or trade agreements between EU members and ACP states conditional upon adherence of these states to provisions on sexual and reproductive health and rights, so that the aid will not be conditional on implementing all these kinds of concepts. And finally, clarify what type of mechanism is in place whereby states can make reservations, declarations, exempting their countries from controversial provisions that conflict with their national laws. And this afternoon I learned that after the finalization of the negotiations was April 15 last year, in June the EU unilaterally took out the possibility to make reservations. Reservations and declarations, national declarations to this agreement. So that should be revised before the agreement is to be signed. So the ultimate goal is to ensure that this binding agreement is truly going to be equally beneficial for EU and ACP citizens in the coming 20 years, thereby respecting the ACP countries' cultural and religious values and national sovereignty. We need African countries to rise up against this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Henk Jan. This is very important, and we deliberately planned this presentation of yours at the end of this call because we have seen and heard from Päivi and from Paul what the reality of that is, and we see now also concretely how African and Caribbean countries are actually under direct threat from the same ideologies. I have uploaded your presentation and an additional document in the chat function. So all of you, before we exit this video conference, all of you who are interested, please make sure you download it from the chat function, and you can read in further detail all the points of Henk Jan's presentation. I think it's very important to realize that every country, and here especially we need our African friends on the African continent to really rise to the occasion and to make sure that they make full use of the sovereign rights of their nations to resist what we have come to call here in these calls the continuous efforts by the West to pursue its goals of ideological colonization, because that's really what it is. And it is extremely important that that effort is being pushed back. If any of you members of parliament have questions on this, I will be happy to put you in contact with Henk Jan and his organization who can advise you on this. Please don't underestimate the vital importance of responding to this. This is about the sovereignty of your countries and the ability of your countries, as Honorable Lawrence put it so well, to pursue the principles that your countries stand for. This brings us to the conclusion of our global video conference. I want to thank you once again, Päivi, for joining us, for your beautiful testimony, and for the encouragement you are giving all of us. And we all continue to pray for you and reach out to you, and follow very closely how you are going through this case with the great help of Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF International, and Paul and his team. And I hope very much that there will be more opportunities to share with you. So thank you, Päivi. Thank you for your witness, for your testimony. I've already been receiving many messages in the chat from people how inspired they are by your words. And as I said to your husband, I do truly hope to come and visit you soon in Finland, because I word only as a sign of support. So thank you very much, Paul, to you as well, to the great work of the ADF team in running this case. And thank you all of you for participating in this call. And I look forward to seeing all of you again during our next global video conference, and of course, during our upcoming meeting at the end of August in Frascati, the annual meeting. Thank you so much, especially Päivi, to you, and God bless to all of you. And please don't forget to download the presentations if you are interested. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Päivi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Bye.